All right, so Robo Umps, what you got on them?
I'm not a huge fan. I think that, and this is kind of what I'm thinking, I think that Robo Umps, I think it'll kind of make it a little unfair for both. Mainly unfair for the hitter. I think, like you were talking about,
it's unfair.
Yeah, being able to throw that breaking ball and have it at the top of the zone or wherever it may be. That's a pitch that you're not going to get called, and you can flip it in there. They're not going to swing at it, and you can get a call on it every time because it's Robo.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, umpires are we've moved into like a lot of technology and stuff, and most of it's good. It's a part of the game though, and like bad calls, it's a part of the game. And like we were talking about earlier, I think that having a way to review certain calls, a certain number of reviews, especially in big situations where it does change the ball game, I think that would be the way to go.
Well, because you also think about that, like the big argument in I guess the front offices or in the commissioner's office is like pace of play. That's going to ruin pace of play. I'm not sure if you watched any of the fall league stuff when they were using Robo Umps, but you'd have guys like I remember one video. I don't remember who it was, but like. It was one of those curveballs that like bounces in the dirt, but it clipped that bottom corner of the zone. He was walking to first base, and everybody had an understanding, like, that's a ball, right? Yeah, about 5 seconds later, hey, strike three, you're out. So like you think about that too, like it also changes the pace of the game, which like if they're talking about like, hey, we need to speed the game up, which I also kind of disagree with, but they're saying like speed the game up. Then they're like, hey, we're going to implement this thing that takes about 3 to 5 seconds to actually come in, and then we'll let you know if it's a ball or
Does it take that long?
Yeah.
Then absolutely
well, okay, so like, and I mean we have TrackMan in here. Think about it. Like every single time a pitch gets thrown, it usually takes about 3 to 5 seconds for it to render it and let it know exactly where it is.
Then I definitely don't think Robo Umps are a good idea.
It slows the game down a lot. I think that. Talking about using that as a review is the right way to do it though, because once again, so there's two reasons I'm against it. One, the human element of it. So like, you used to listen to like the old school guys like Maddox talking about how they were able to work themselves out to a more larger zone because they were so consistent with their strikes that like you get that routine almost, and you almost trick the umpire into thinking that any ball you throw is going to be a strike.
Not to mention catchers.
Yeah.
Think about like Ramuta, watching him.
You lose all of that.
Like those guys that steal strikes.
And on top of that too, stealing goes down because all their focus, like they can literally, if that's the case, if it's a Robo zone, they can literally pop up every single time assuming that there's going to be a runner.
Yeah.
So like then there's no stolen bases, which guys love stolen bases too because that helps the fans. So like I don't think it's the right way to go.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea.
But the other, so going into that though, I think it should be utilized. It should be utilized similar to like reviewing in football. So you're gonna, and I wouldn't even say 3. I'd say 1.
Yeah.
Because like once again, you're talking about pace of play. Because I'm also, I will say this, I'm aware that the human element of it can also ruin games. I'm aware of that, and I think that part of it needs to be repaired. So I think that you utilize that similar to a review structure where you say you have 1 review per game. If you get it right, it carries over and you can keep reviewing. If you get it wrong, you're done. That way also, like, you're not going to use, even though you may like know it's a ball, you're not going to use that in the first inning.
Right.
That's going to speed the pace of the play up. Then you're going to have that 9th inning in the pennant or something like that, where there's like that controversial call that gets talked about for months and years afterwards that gets fixed because of that 1 review. I think that would be the best way to implement it. But also, man, like, umpires are a part of the game. Like, you also have to like have some sort of relationship and respect with the umpires. And like when I say respect, I'm not talking about like sucking up to them, but like, man, they're out there working too. Like I'm not a fan of most umpires, but I'll give them that. I know they're out there working. I know they're humans. They're seeing 300 pitches a game. There's no way you're locked in for 300 pitches. Like, I get that.
And it's a lot harder than people act like it is.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever?
Especially 95 plus.
Have you ever got back there and called like balls and strikes in like an inter squad?
Oh yeah.
So like, I did that a lot when
especially behind the pitcher.
Yeah.
So hard.
I would do that whenever I was coaching, and I would ask the players like, "How's my zone?" They're like, "It's okay." Like, it's okay.
Terrible.
I'm like, okay. I
thought I was nails.
They're like, nah, you've missed a ton. And I'm like, dang, that must be really hard. Because like, especially whenever you're back there behind the plate and you can't see depth.
Yeah.
Like depth
is
tough.
a hard one. I don't get how there's a few umpires out there, and I don't know their names, which maybe I should, but there's a few of them out there that I'm impressed with when you watch them call those low pitches, because they have the pitch zone or whatever, and it'll be like this far under, and there's not even a hesitation. There's not that's ball, that's down.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that actually blows my mind. Yeah,
it's pretty impressive. They're good at what they do. I think people also don't give them enough. Vast majority,
right,
in the big leagues, that is.
Right.
I think they're really good at what they do. But there's also the mistake at the very important time in a game, which I also say this, I don't think that they like that. I don't think that they like the fact that, and so I don't know if they do this, but players, you go back and review your game, I wonder, and I think that they might go back and review their game. Like, hey, was I missing this pitch here? Because it'll also help them have a better understanding of the zone.
I think they do.
They do. So I don't know, but maybe they do. If they do, they don't go back and they're like, ha, I messed that game up.
I really screwed him.
I'll talk about this. Did you also see the one on Twitter where the guy, it was like a 12U game, maybe even younger
than that? Did Devin Morgan post it?
I don't know. I saw it on Twitter.
He's been posting a lot of them.
And the parents are just going at him, and he gives them a warning. He goes if you guys keep talking, I'm leaving. Not you're leaving, I'm leaving. Yeah. And it's like an 18-year-old kid. First off, props to this 18-year-old. Way to hold your ground here. And they kept going at him, and he goes, "That's it, game's over, I'm done." Mm-hmm. And he walks off. Good for you, first off. How are you going to do that as a parent? Just ruin the game for every single person out there. How important is this game that you have to yell at an 18-year-old umpire who's getting paid, what, $20 for the game?
Probably.
Maybe?
Tops, $40, $50 tops. Yeah.
Terrible. Just awful, man.
I've seen Devin Morgan. He's posted a lot of...
Oh, Devin Morgan. You said Devin Williams.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
We're going to go back and look.
Did
Devin Morgan post it?
We're gonna just be out of it.
We're gonna hit the review button on that one, bro. But he's been posting a lot of stories that he's super involved in the youth stuff. Yeah. People have been sending him stories about stuff like that, and it's never typically it's not about the umpire being bad. It's about parents.
Yeah.
And some of those stories
just killing the joy, man.
Has been parents assaulting 9 and 10-year-old umpire. Guy calling balls and strikes in kid pitch,
which the zone itself is already about 3 feet wide.
Yeah, and there's a pretty good chance that guy has not umpired very many games if he's in 9 and 10-year-olds,
if any.
Right,
if any.
It's probably his first game.
That's when I remember actually, because my dad was actually the president of my little league, and that's actually what I used to do in the summers was umpire games for money back when I don't remember the age. I think you had to be 14 years old to start umpiring, I don't remember the exact numbers, but to start umpiring 9-year-olds, which is kid pitch. Miserable. Not fun at all. I did that for about a month and a half, and then I was like, nah, it's not worth. I think even at that time, it was some pretty good money for a 14-year-old kid. I think it was something like $50 a game or something like that. And I did that for 5-10 games, and I was like, I'm not doing this again. This is miserable. And the softball was bad. The young softball, because they cheer so much, it actually gave me a headache.
Yeah, I umpired some games when I was at Gulf Coast. We had a tournament there all day, right? And the umpires didn't show up. Someone told them the wrong day or something stupid, and they were like, "Man, we gotta have somebody to do it." And it was 6 games or something at $50 a game. And I was like,
"Oh yeah, I'll do that.
I'll do it." Luckily, the parents knew, because I didn't have on gear or anything, right? They knew I was a coach, so they didn't get on me too hard. But there was a couple instances where, first off, I was right. I was right on the call.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
You sure about
I'd had plenty of practice. It was just but I'd have a parent say something to me, and I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, you're here, so this is what blew my mind, right? Why is that kid there pitching at Gulf Coast?
To get recruited?
To get recruited, right?
Oh, wait, what was the age group?
High school.
Oh.
So his dad's saying it to me, right? It's oh, come on now. I'm like, you do realize that
I'm the one responsible.
I'm the one that would recruit your kid. if you piss me off, I'm probably not going to recruit your kid. Are you an idiot?
Yeah, most likely.
I'm like, get out! Get out of here, man. That's real smart.
That's just not thinking through the situation, is what that is.
Yeah. Talk to the guy that's going to recruit your kid.
In control of your destiny, more.
Yeah.
I'll go after you.
This one was largely on me. And this was just a bad day. This was a bad day. This is post-surgery. I wasn't getting many. I got through a total of like 9 innings, had a fat ERA. At the time, I was about 78 to 80. Mm-hmm. And our starter gave up 7 in the first. So this team, I won't name the team that we were playing, but they were hot, bro. They could swing it. And the plate discipline was unbelievable. They've always been like that. And so he sends me to the pen, right, because I'm garbage at the time, and he's not going to waste any good arms for game 2. So he sends me down there. I come in, bases loaded, 2 outs, struck a guy out. I'm like, heck yeah, let's go, baby.
We got it.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, okay, here we go. So I go back out, and, when you're throwing 80 miles per hour in college, those borderline calls, you need them to go your way, huh? Mm-hmm. So I'm throwing, and these are like, I've never like argued balls and strikes ever, yeah. But they were strikes, like they were there, and I'm asking the catcher, and he's like, no, they're strikes, and the umpire, and like they're like right there on the black, and I end up giving up a couple runs that inning, and then I come out, and I'm saying something to someone, and one of my teammates, he goes, ask him where it's at. Like,
how'd you ask first?
I know. Here's the thing. So I meant to go, hey, where's that at?
Where's that at?
And I threw one. It was right there on the black. He calls it out. He goes outside. I go, where's that at?
Yep. And that's what you messed up.
I didn't mean to say it like that at all. He goes, outside. What he said it mean back to me, right?
Yeah.
Well, before I even realized it, I go, no, it's not. Then, boy, it had to be center cut. I'm throwing 80 miles per hour. That inning turned into a 10 spot.
Attaboy.
That was my last outing of the year.
Attaboy. That's hot right there.
Yeah, it went really well. So
yeah, so mine's a little bit different than that. So I had a good year in 2018, and I was going off. I think it was 30 plus scoreless or no earned runs over 30 plus innings or something like that. I'm in Charleston, West Virginia, and I'm facing an old teammate of mine, Kyle Watson. There's a runner on third, 2 outs. I had 2 strikes. So there's some strategy within the game where one of my favorite things to do is like a slide step changeup, like in quick pitch. And the reason why is because you got that guy 0-2, 1-2 or whatever, and you're working them really fast. Like they're jumping out on anything they're really aggressive. And I've always done, and I've never watched this video. We might have to go back and watch it because it's to this day I don't think it's a balk, but maybe I'm eating my words. But this one hurt. This one hurt a lot. I think it's the 3rd or the 4th inning too. So I was in the game already at this point. And I do it, and I come set, and I give myself, because my internal clock's usually pretty good, I give myself my 1/1000, and then I go. And it was he didn't hesitate. It was as I'm going, he's calling balk basically. Those ones where you finish the pitch, and then they're like, wait, balk. He was looking for something. And I remember this umpire, and I won't name names, but sometimes, and most pro guys will know what I'm talking about. Actually, I'm gonna name his name. His name was Anthony. Yeah. I hated Anthony, and everybody in the Sally League in 2018 hated Anthony because this dude would he wanted to make himself a part of the game rather than just be an umpire.
Yeah.
This dude got probably on average, he tossed maybe, I'd say over 20 people during the season. Because everybody throughout the league hated him. Everybody knew Anthony. It was Anthony's game. There was a joke in our team. It was Anthony's game. Anthony was in control of it. And sure enough, Anthony was the one that called the balk on me. And I don't talk to umpires. I respect them. Like I said, I know it's a part of the game. But there are some times that you can have, especially once you kind of get to pro ball, you can have some conversations with them a little bit. And I actually handled it really well. I remember that. I can usually keep some good poise on the mound. And I remember I wanted to snap, but I brought myself back because I was like, if I snap, I'm done. Like
you handled it better than me.
Yeah, I handled it way better than you. But the thing is, he responded the same way the umpire responded to you. So I calmed myself. And I was like, because I was telling you earlier that when I come set, I get that little bounce, and I guess he said that the bounce itself was like the balk, even though I do that literally every single time, and he's never caught on me before. And I asked him, I said, is it the bounce? And I actually said it about that. Like, I was actually inquisitive. I was curious. Right. I said, hey, did you have that on the bounce? He goes, yep. I said, I do that every time, and you haven't caught it. He goes, no, you haven't. And he started snapping on me that way. And at that point, in my mind, I had the internal debate of, okay, do I respond back and snap on this guy? Luckily, I bit my tongue, and I was just because I still had a 1-2 count, and there's still a runner on, I think, second base. So here's how my mind works. It's, I can snap on him now, but now if that guy comes in the pin who hasn't warmed up at all and gives up my run, it's another earned run. So that's the way I think. So I was like, you know what, not worth it. But I just remember sitting there just being like, pardon my French, what? Ruining, I'm in this game so much, and he just had to insert himself to make a change because he had to be heard. Little old Anthony.